Good morning. Do you want to say hello? I think we have a lot of really fun things today. I'm literally looking forward to this. Hey, Sherry, how are you? I think we're going to have a fun time today. I really like the Parsha and there's a lot of Chassidus. Also, the Tanya is really cool today. And there's like so much interesting things going on in the news. Thanks for the thumbs up. How's it going by you, Sherry? Great. Okay, good. Uh, Are you in Louisiana? Do I remember that correctly? No. Really amazing. Communication can take place like this. Two people, two folks. Massena. Where's Massena? Is that upstate? New York. Gosh. Massena. Upstate, yeah. Is it more up? Well, upstate could mean a lot of different things. I mean, there's New York State is really a huge, huge area of land. At any rate, there's a lot. There's just seems like a lot going on. Yes, there's a lot. So, I mean, I'm looking at. I mean, just quickly, I'm looking at the because I have a subscriber who lives on the east side of the Hudson, near Hudson, New York, and so I went up there to visit, and that was just really. I haven't been there. I mean, it's close to Massachusetts. Hey, Tara. Um, but there's so many regions in New York. There's Catskills, there's the Adirondacks, there's the Finger Lakes, which I've never really explored. I've been through there a little bit, but at any rate, let's. There's a lot going on in the news. Hey, Fred, great. I'm glad you came in. There was a Fred Cox I grew up with. I don't know if you're from Westchester. Hey, Bassman. Baseman, you'll be proud of me, man. I'm starting to practice my blues scales again. I'm, I'm a finger picker, but I also like to play with a flat pick. And when I play with a flat pick, I really get into the blues more, a little bit more. Hey, Patricia, so nice to see you. Okay, so I'm just gonna start launching right into it. Just let me just like some like book actually from Anderson, South Carolina. Wow, I'm so jealous, South Carolina. OMG, man. Um, Anderson, wow. Pines, man, the land of pines, the land of Charleston, beautiful place. Moss on the trees. I just a couple of bookkeeping things. I I did an interview yesterday on, I think it was on Telegram, maybe. Nylon string. Yeah, I don't. I play with steel strings. I've always been a steel string person because I'm really like my first instrument is 5 string banjo, so I've always been into. But I think nylon is also quite beautiful. I have a friend who plays nylon. Um, anyway, so I did an interview yesterday. Huge trees, oaks, nice, sandy soil, Fred. It's my recollection of I relate to a region by its soil. That's a, I'm a bit of a gardener, I guess. But oaks, I don't associate. I guess I should. I don't. I guess I don't know South Carolina so much. There's nothing like oaks and poplars. Yeah. Okay. So, hey Ken. Good morning. God bless, man. Okay. So, a lot going on in the world right now. I think we are in between. Hey, Karen, I'm so good to see you. I missed you the other day when you weren't there. It wasn't the same. Um, so, wow. It is sold land, not been disturbed for over 200 years. Boy, I may come to visit you. I love to see old trees. I just go, somebody, a friend of mine, when I was still a hippie, took me to a place in North Carolina that had a virgin, hey, Angela, had a virgin forest, like an original forest. It was unforgettable. It was just so amazing. We drove and drove and drove from Tennessee. No, he was in Georgia. We drove from Georgia all the way to somewhere deep in North Carolina that hadn't been logged. It was amazing. Nice, Fred. Yeah, man, old trees. Maybe someday I'll get back to the woods. But right now, I'm happy being here. I'm happy having my little park nearby where I can commune with the trees a little bit. Um, But okay, so I think today's parsha is like, and we're on the third reading. Today is Tuesday, so we start. The first day of the week is Sunday. The second day Monday. The third day is Tuesday in the Jewish way because Shabbos is the seventh day. Interesting that you prayed for it. So this is really, and this is so current. You know what? When the Alter Rebbe, okay, the Alter Rebbe. Okay, so okay, forgive me my train of thought. Put lights on them. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, I'm going to start with this. I'm going to start with the Yom Yom. That's the daily sayings, and I'm going to go back to the Chumash. I appreciate you guys letting me go with my train of my flow of thought, which is not, it's not like it does. I don't go from point A to B. I usually go from point A to like Q and then come back. Um, okay, so I dog tag. I think it's a dog tag or ear tag. This whatever they call this. Um, Tuesday. Oh no, that's the Tanya. Okay, so I want to just. I can really summarize it. This is the young man. Yeah. Oh no, that's Tanya. Okay, so let me get to the young. Okay, here we go. I did tag it. Now, what I wanted to say. Hey, Richard. Thank you. Yeah. I'm actually putting a course together. My son is helping me put a course together. I forget the name of the website, but it should be fun. Yeah, Fred, that's amazing, man. Fred, maybe you could send pictures. Is there a way that could you post some pictures on my? We have a Telegram chat channel where you can send things in. I would love to see some pictures of those trees. Okay, yeah, no rush, no rush, no rush. Yeah, take care of what you got to do. Um, hey, Angela. Okay, so this is what I want to say, and this is why this is so current. Why everything that's happening is like, Torah is the master plan. That's it. It's the blueprint for the universe. But it says in today's Yom Yom, this date today is the passing of the Alter Rebbe in the village of Piena on Motzi Shabbos Shemois in 1812. His resting place is in the township of Hadich. Um, and they asked him what he hoped to accomplish, and he said that everyone should be united as one family. That's just like a bekitzer. That's a summary. But I wanted to tell you guys a very interesting story. I might have told it before, but the Alter Rebbe's passing is very significant and very timely because he before he passed over, he was leaving his house. I believe this is right. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But he was leaving his home in, I guess it was Piena. Yeah, I thought it was Lubavitch, but anyway, he was leaving his home, some village in Russia, and he asked his friend or his shamash, his helper, to burn his house to the ground. And then he went back to his house to make sure that nothing was left. There's hope in the grandchildren. Yeah, right. So the reason he did this was because he left his house because Napoleon's army was coming into Russia and he had to get out. Now, why did he burn his house to the ground? And why did he send somebody back to make sure they said, I don't even want to, there shouldn't even be a button in my house that Napoleon's people could get hold of. And this is so current. Why? Because he knew that Napoleon was, Napoleon had a handler that was from the Kabbalah, that was from the Illuminati. This was an Illuminati operation, the whole Napoleonic thing. And the Alter Rebbe was very against Napoleon, but to the point that he fled his home and he burned it to the ground, and then had somebody sent somebody back to check to make sure they didn't get hold of any of the Alter Rebbe's possessions, because he didn't want the magicians that were around um, Napoleon to get hold of the Alter Rebbe's, his power. So that is very current in terms of today's news, because we're fighting the same enemy. This is, more than 200 years later, we're still fighting the same cabal. These people who worship Satan, who think, I have to be careful. Okay, I'm going to be careful. I'm not going to expand on this. I'm I want to keep this channel for as long as I can. I don't have illusions that it's going to be like an eternal channel or anything like that. I had to leave behind 8,000 subscribers, because whatever, man. I mean, it is Daniel 12. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, Richard, because you're more Bucky in in uh, the prophets than me. But I want to go. Okay, so now, yeah. Yeah, and they say that those people are not associated with Jewish; they're Khazarians, and certainly no Jew would go and do the things that they do in terms of, some of their spiritual practices are bizarre. But yeah, we're coming into the end of days, I think. The revelation really of the Alter Rebbe's teachings. That's how current this is. And this is the amazing thing about the timelessness of human consciousness. And remember that the Alter Rebbe published Tanya because everybody was like getting hold of it and changing it. People, though he had a lot of enemies, a lot of people didn't like what he was doing. Remember, he was sentenced to, I think they were going to sentence him to the end of the opposite of life for teaching Hasidus. And the Baal Shem Tov and the Mittler Rebbe came into his jail cell after they had already passed on and told him, keep teaching Hasidus. It's okay, man. I mean, and here we are 200 plus years later, and we're on the internet teaching the same teachings that he ran away from Napoleon. I mean, this is, it's mind-boggling when you think about it. Yeah, lots of trust in the Bay. I'm hearing there's I got this thing just now about a new type of um, emotional distress that people get. All of a sudden, a lot of people are having heart problems, and it's some kind of emotional thing. All of a sudden, hundreds and thousands of people are getting heart problems, but it's not associated with anything, whatever. Anyway, I don't want to say anything. Anyway, so in today's portion, this is why the Alter Rebbe said, live with the Torah portion of the day. So I'm kind of repeating because I wasn't really on. I forget, yesterday I was sort of flaked out. I don't know where I was, where my mind was, but I was a little bit scattered yesterday. Yeah, but it was a good day. I ended up doing an interview with Mel Carmine. It was a very interesting interview. He's very into XRP and Nasara. Totally cool dude, man. I love his vibes. So anyway, okay, so if you don't have this book, by the way, I mean, I'm just going to tell you, man. You got to get this book. This is the bomb in terms of Hasidus and Kabbalah. But anyway, it's a very short reading. It's really like 2 pages. Um, I'm almost tempted to read it in Hebrew, but I'm not going to embarrass myself. Um, so, V'yaduber Adonai Hashem. I shouldn't say that. I should say just Hashem. Hashem said to Moshe, Al Moshe, Lamor, saying, he's spoken. And this is like kind of where the Torah scholars really get into this. So God spoke to Moses, saying. So he's like saying twice. And there's some kind of like thing to that where like when he says it saying twice, it's like he's maybe chiding him a bit. I forget how it goes, but there's something to that. You Torah scholars can figure that one out. But anyway, Basement, you the man. All right. So he said, I am God. Tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Remember, Egypt is the narrow place. It's the deep state. It's the place of constriction. It's the Illuminati. It's the reptile people. It's the place of slavery of mind and body. And we haven't really left Egypt. And so we're getting into this narrative, right? Stubborn, require repeating. Right. Moses was probably like all of us, a little stubborn. So Moses said, the people themselves did not listen to me, even though I spoke to them through Aaron, his older brother. It is clear now that not only do I stammer, but I have a slow tongue. I am so unskilled in transmitting your message that I may as well be a man of blocked lips. So how will Pharaoh listen to me? I mean, can you imagine telling God, like, I'm not up to this? It's like, it's not for me. Get somebody from CNN, right, who can really speak well. So God says to Moses, observe. What is the word for observe? Yomer Hashem el Moshe. Re'eh. Re'eh really means see. He's like, see. Observe. They're translating see as observe. Okay, that's a fancy way to say see. See, I have made you master over Pharaoh. And it says down here, I have made you a god over Pharaoh. Okay, this is deep, man. Okay, so you will rebuke him forcefully and afflict him with plagues and suffering. Your brother Aaron will be your spokesman, specifically despite your speech impediment and your stubbornness. I'm putting that in. And your inarticulateness, I will give you the ability to speak authoritatively. You must repeat before Pharaoh everything that I command you, exactly as you heard it from me in Hebrew. Pharaoh does not understand Hebrew, but that does not matter. The purpose of your oratory will be to establish you as a master over Pharaoh in another language. Imagine that. And repeating my exact words in a stern tone will have this effect. That is so cool. Afterwards, your brother Aaron must repeat it to Pharaoh, translating it into Egyptian and articulating it eloquently so that he will be convinced to send the Israelites from the land. Now, what's so cool about this whole, we're talking about the plagues. And I mean, this is just this week. We're going into the first 7 plagues. So think about what the deep state is about to encounter, man. If this is happening in Torah, it's also going to be happening in the world somehow. We may not see it, but I feel pretty convinced that they're going to feel it, right? We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I'm sure there's a lot going on right now. I have made you master over Pharaoh literally means I have made you God over Pharaoh. In other words, God here assures Moses that he will be able to invoke God's power to overcome Pharaoh. Excuse me. This was necessary because Pharaoh was at the height of his power. The origin of evil is the world of Tohu. And we've been talking a lot about Tohu. Tohu has to deal with the shattering of the vessels. I think it's going to talk about that here. Right. Yeah, that which is on a higher rung of divinity than Tikkun. Tikkun means repair. Tikkun is the Jewish way, but Tohu, like Aseb, is on a higher, has higher energy. Just like, your Yetzer Hara, your animal soul, it comes from a high source, so it has a lot of energy. So if you can take that energy and get it to do holy things, put your arm around your Yetzer Hara and say, "Okay, man, let's can we talk?" It's like, I know you want to do these, like, really, you want to, like, go out there and do all these, like, really heavy duty things, but what if we did some, like, nice things? Anyway, Tikkun is the origin of holiness. This does not mean that evil is better than holiness, only that it possesses more power. Okay? Indeed, the major challenge of life, this is what I just said, is to harness the power inherent in evil for the purpose of goodness and holiness. But when evil manifests its source, that is, when it asserts its perceived independence from God, it is too powerful for the forces of holiness within creation to overcome. In other words, tohu in its source, and this is the problem with tohu, is that it doesn't consider anybody else's opinion. It is, it's like when you get angry. When you get angry, nobody can tell you anything. You're impervious to rational thought. You're angry, and that is tohu. That's that incredible light, that incredible power. But they're saying here, the Rebbeim are saying, it's not inherently evil. It's inherently powerful. And later they go on to say, I'm not sure they say it here, but it really has no real power of its own. That evil gets its power, they say, from Hashem throws it behind him. He doesn't really give it to them, face to face. He gives it to them through hesitation. Um, so here it goes. The Egyptians will recognize that I am God. As you've seen, the world of Tohu collapsed. When the world of Tohu collapsed, this is before the whole story of Torah. Like before Torah, there was another world, a world of Tohu. Is this Atlantis? Is this Lemuria? Could be. I mean, I'm very interested in all these things. I mean, if the Atlanteans were so on such a high level, why did they end up destroying themselves? Because they were built on Tohu, which is like, I'm right and you are wrong, and nothing you could do can convince me because I am completely isolated from you. But there were, and these numbers are interesting. There were 288 general sparks of divine energy, of lights, that fell into the realm of Klippa, of evil, in order to break through the hard shells. Okay, so of these 288 sparks that fell into Tohu, 202 became embedded in Egypt. So that's very interesting. That means that 86, which I believe is the gematria of Elokis, I believe. I believe it's like, or maybe Teva. It's the gematria. Could that be of Teva? I think so. I think the gematria of Teva and the gematria of Elokus, which is God as in nature, are the same. But anyway, it could be 86. I could be wrong. I have to really think about that. But the purpose of the 10 plagues in this context was to break the stubborn, materialistic outlook of Egypt, so the divine sparks embedded in it could be released. Right? This is why there had to be 10 plagues. Just as there are 10 spheros of holiness, there are 10 spheros of evil. Each plague broke another facade of nature. And this is a big Kabbalistic thing. I just have to grab my power source. This is a big thing in Pirkei Avos, which is sayings of the fathers, which we say after Passover, on between Mincha, between the afternoon prayer and the evening prayer on Shabbos, we say Pirkei Avos, and that's something that I hope if as if God wills it for this channel um, to find some kind of material success, I think it could. I mean, really, all I have to do is retire from my other job, and I'll be fine. But I don't want to retire yet because it would be kind of like cowardly in a way. I want to support my brothers and sisters that are in this legal battle, and I'm a plaintiff on the legal suit, so I'm trying to hold out as long as I can. But once I retire, then we won't have to worry. But I'm just saying that we could also learn Perke Avos, the sayings of the fathers, which is just tremendous. And also, I'd like to learn Tehillim, Psalms with you guys, and maybe do it in a more like intimate setting where we can speak to each other, like on Zoom. I mean, I think there's tremendous opportunity for for moving this community into hyperspace, into expansion, getting other teachers, having you guys teach, all this kind of thing. Um, anyway, so okay, so that's really it. So okay, so that's the beginning part. Um, oh, now here's the interesting part. God, he says, nevertheless, I will make Paro insensitive, and they translate this in traditional things. They say, I will harden Paro's heart. So this this goes into a lot of questions about Ten Commandments. Yeah, 10. There's the whole thing in Perkei Avos about the number 10. There's like, there were 10 this, 10 that. 10, maybe you should check it out, but or we could check it out together one day. But I will make Paro insensitive. He refused to listen to me, brazenly asserting that he can do as he pleases. Measure for measure, I will punish him for this by limiting his free choice. At first, I will make him stubbornly, indirectly, by allowing him to think you are performing witchcraft and the like. If he persists in refusing to submit to me, I will make him stubborn directly as a punishment for his own stubbornness. I will therefore have cause to increase my miraculous signs and marvels in Egypt by punishing him. This will impress the Israelites with my power and bolster their faith in me, and also scare the heck out of the Egyptians. I mean, by the 10th plague, they were fit to be tied. They were like, let these people go already, man. Let them go. Get them out of here. Thus, despite Aaron's eloquence, Pharaoh will not listen to you. I mean, you have to question. I mean, you have to think about this. That God is not really giving Pharaoh free choice. He doesn't really have a choice. This is God's will. This whole thing, and so much of our lives is like that. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, and bohu. You're right, Richard. Like in Genesis, but it's also really in Kabbalistic terms. It really represents the power that in its source is really beautiful when it's connected to God, because it knows no, it has no questions about its own power. It is completely, it doesn't combine with anything else. Where in Tikkun everything combines with everything else, but Tohu by itself in its source, when it's worship, when it's one with God, is beautiful. But when it comes down here, and it still has that unified feeling about itself and nobody else, it's very destructive. So the Egyptians too. Okay, so we did say the Egyptians too will recognize that I am God when I raise my hand over Egypt and bring out the Jews from their midst. Nevertheless, even though I will make Pharaoh obstinate, if he truly wishes, he will still be able to repent. He could still do tshuva. He still could come back. So Moses and Aaron did exactly as God instructed them, as will be described presently. And then there's one more line in today's parsha. It says, uh, Moshe ben Shemoinim. So Moshe was 80 years old, and Aaron was 83 years old when they spoke to Pharaoh in the year 2447, a few years ago. We're at 5782, I think. So it's about 3,000 years ago. So that's in today's reading, and I just think it's just amazing. Um, this whole idea of free will and free choice and tohu and tikkun, and it also neatly fits in with today's Tanya. So I'm going to just go straight. Let me just see if there's anything else I want to cover with here. Um, the Egyptians will recognize that I am God. Okay, we said that already. There's a whole thing about I will make Pharaoh insensitive. Pharaoh will not listen to you. The Egyptians will recognize that I am God after after God destroys their whole country. I mean, with all the plagues. On the other hand, God promised Abraham that he would punish the Egyptians for enslaving the Jewish people, and he fulfilled the promise with the plagues. So it says in other places, the Torah implies that the plagues were meant to impress the Jews. This is the lesson here for us. No matter how insignificant the Jewish people seem to be in the scheme of worldly affairs, we must recall that ultimately all that happens is for our sake, despite the fact that God certainly orchestrates humanity's affairs with the eye to the needs of every creature, person, and nature. Therefore, we should never succumb to fear in the face of world events, but rather strengthen our commitment to studying Torah and fulfilling its commandments. And I'm including Noahide people in with this because, man, you guys are on the same page. But I want to say at this point, before I go into Tanya, one other little tidbit of information that in the plague of darkness, remember that 80% of the Jewish people decided to stay in Egypt. They decided to die in Egypt rather than face that rather than to move forward into the new world. And oh, Carla Joe's here. Yeah, hey Carla, so nice to see you. Um, Integration. Yeah, yeah, you're right. That's a very good way to look at it, Karen. Yeah, it's all about integration. Yeah, it's and that's really the whole thing of the name Havaya of that now God is operating under the name Havaya, which is completely above nature. In Yiddish, people call Hashem the Abishter, which means the conductor, which I think is just such a beautiful way to call God the conductor. So he's got his baton out, he's got the whole orchestra is ready. Bassman, you're ready. You got your upright bass, man. You're good to go. And he starts to wave his baton, and everything sings the way they should. But that point about the 80%, that means 4/5 of the Jewish people stayed in Egypt. Right, they had to sacrifice their firstborn, and that was considered the greatest miracle because it was like a civil war taking place, which I think if we use the Torah as our guide, that at the end of this struggle that we're watching now, that evil for sure is going to destroy itself. They're going to fight with each other. They would rather fight with each other because they all come from the light of Tohu, and they can't really see anybody else. The conductor, I know, isn't that beautiful, Patricia? I mean, it's in Yiddish, it's the Abishter, if you can pronounce that, the Abishter. Um, yeah. But the Rebbe said that in this current, at the end of this gullus, at the end of this exile, all the Jewish people, and I'm including the Noahides, all the Jewish people will leave Egypt. So please God, that should happen. Um, I mean, you know, I don't know. There's Jews get involved in some weird stuff. Um, there are a lot of people involved with. I don't want to say anything negative about other Jews. Um, whatever I want, so I won't. That's like usually paid. I don't want to say anything negative about you, but you know, remember that time that you borrowed my sledgehammer and you never gave it back? I got into this thing once with a guy. I mean, it became a whole karmic thing because he borrowed a snow shovel from me and he broke it. And I didn't really think anything of it, but it led to a whole series of events where, I mean, I wasn't really I wasn't really that upset about it. I mean, it was just a snow shovel, but it's we don't know. We don't really know what's behind anything. The Abisher, yeah, A B Abisher. You probably could look it up online. Or Egypt leaves us. Yes, Karen, you're right. That's very good because really it was one nation leaving another. Yeah, one nation. And now when you look at the geography of the events now, there's no place to go. It's not like, we were saying 10 years ago, oh, we could always go to Israel, but it's worse in Israel. I mean, the Kabbalah is like, you know, you connect the dots. Anyway, so now let's go. Yeah, empathy and forgiveness. Yeah, yeah, because if you're judging others, you what does they say? You point one finger there, you're pointing four back at yourself. Um, yeah, it's a slippery slope. I had to do a lot of self therapy. I mean, I spent my years. I was living in the kind of like kind of in the I was living in the country in Tennessee with my second wife, and I was living with my second wife and a jar full of hallucinogenic mushrooms. Um, so whenever I wasn't working, like on the weekends, I would take these exploratory trips, and I really got to examine. I'm not recommending anyone do this, and I don't do this now, but I got to examine all the negative thoughts about myself that I was carrying inside my consciousness. All these belittling thoughts, I always go through this, and that comes from our training. We're trained. Yeah, music, man, and also telepathy. I mean, like, you know what? Sometimes I really love to meet people that don't speak. I mean, like on Shabbos, I have a friend who doesn't speak. He doesn't speak on Shabbos. He doesn't. So it's really kind of nice to be around him because we don't have to speak to each other. I always say when I used to be in romantic situations, I was a romance junkie for a long time. It was like when two people don't speak to each other, in a way, it's like there's more intimacy in the not speaking than, because sometimes words can be used to as protection reasons. Yeah. Wow, the big bands, man. Yeah, I'm starting to get back into it, man. I'm practicing my blues scales again. I'm so proud of myself. I keep my guitar right by my place here. This is my place. I spend the whole day just sitting right here and just loving my life. Just it's so exciting to be here. I mean, so I get into dark spaces. Um, but anyway, okay. So now let's go to Tanya while we still have some time. I've blown away a lot of time because I want to give you guys some time just to share with each other. Um, and by the way, I don't mind you guys. I don't feel it's rude if you guys want to talk to each other, like during class. I don't mind. I mean, it's certainly not interrupting me in any way. Um, and I can, as a person who I went through graduate school. I have a graduate degree, so I sat in a lot of classrooms. I don't think I ever paid attention to what the teacher said once in like the 15 years or whatever it was that I was learning. I was always looking out the window, probably thinking about something I shouldn't be thinking about. But anyway, yeah, you guys have flow too, 100%, man, 100%. Yeah, and this should spark off. I mean, everything should be sparked off. We're coming into a new age of like the communication platforms. As much as we're expanding here, we have Telegram and Rumble and all these different ways, Zoom, to communicate with each other. So too, in reality, in 3D. Say hi to Khan, by the way, Tara. I don't think Khan should be so shy, man. I'd love him to be more of a part of the community. But anyway, verbal, because he is a part of the community. But anyway, so um, let's go to the Tanya here. So I've killed so much time. I'm not killed, but I've spoken a lot. Okay, so now we're talking about, this is really a critical piece of Tanya now, just like the Chumash is critical. And what I'm just gonna give a summary that there's a battle for over the small city. There's a battle over your body between the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, or your animal soul. I mean, I don't really like the word evil inclination because, like they said in Chumash, evil isn't really evil. It's just, you know, it's hired by God to do a certain job. But it says that the animal soul and the divine soul battle for control of the body. They want to be the boss. And yeah, Tanya. And the only reason why the divine soul wins out is because God comes and and sides on the side of the divine soul. He pushes the scale towards the divinity. So there was a line here. The okay. So this is very interesting. It says immediately. Okay, so okay. This, I'm just going to read this because this is so important. Um, Note that our sages did not say he was ruled by both the good inclination and the evil. God forbid, because when the evil nature gains any rule and dominion over the small city, over the body, then he's considered a Rasha. He's considered an evil person. Once your evil inclination, once your animal soul takes control, it's goodbye. It's goodbye, goodness. But rather, the evil inclination in a Benini is no more than, for example, a magistrate or judge who expresses his opinion. This is in a Benini. Like, this is somebody who's really worked on himself and understands he doesn't let a thought manifest and he nips it in the bud. A Benini, like, he doesn't get rid of the evil in his heart. It's on the left side of his heart. But when he gets a thought, he doesn't entertain the thought. This is a very high level. I'm not a Benini. This is something we are working towards. But it says that the evil inclination in the Benini is no more than a judge who's expressing his opinion, but the yet in fact his decision is not necessarily final, for there was another magistrate or judge who disagrees with it. And that judge, then it becomes necessary in order to formulate a binding decision to arbitrate between the two, and the final verdict will rest with the arbitrator. I'm sorry. Similarly, in the battle between the evil inclination and the good, the evil inclination states its opinion on the left side of the Benini's heart. It creates an evil desire in his heart and demands that he does it. You got to do it, man. You got to get that chocolate cake, man. You got to figure out, and then it goes into your brain. So the heart, this desire goes into your brain to figure out how to get the hold of the chocolate cake. And then immediately upon its ascent to the brain, it's challenged by a second judge. And this is where the divine soul is sitting. So the divine soul says, man, no way, man. Let's do something else. Let's do something else, which extends to the right part of the heart where the good inclination is. So the final verdict rests with the arbitrator, the Holy One, God. Blessed be he who comes to the aid of the good inclination. So, as our sages say, man's evil inclination gathers strength daily. And if the Almighty did not help his good inclination, he could not overcome it. The help that God grants him is the glow of the divine light that illuminates his divine soul, that it may gain superiority and mastery over the folly of the fool, the evil inclination, paralleling the superiority of light over darkness. So it says, don't get disturbed by bad thoughts that enter your mind. They are just opinions. They are just This is just the judge giving an opinion, not verdicts. He's not making a verdict. Push these thoughts aside and know that God is providing you with the power and courage to do the right thing. So the evil side will push this idea, and he'll want you to start to ruminate on it and give it space and let it take power over this small city. But you don't want to do it, man. Yeah, it wasn't chocolate cake, 100%, man. I know. I mean, I'm saying chocolate cake, but it's not really. I mean, I have, whatever. It's just, it's like there's some things in life that are just so tempting because they're really beautiful, and when these things are used in a holy way, they're not usser. I mean, for example, when a man and a wife are together, it's a beautiful thing. But in our society, and you can see the Kabbalah is all about taking that holy expression of intimacy and putting it into weirdness, into insane worshiping of, and the opposite of life, of taking, it's just, I'm purposely not using words because there's an army of little AI guys that are cursing through the air right now, and I don't want them to find a home in my in my cyberspace. I want them to go somewhere else. Right. But the thing is that, yes, we want to do good with everything, but that we have to recognize, and we have to be realistic that there is this like other side, and it's not there to punish us. It's not there to really lead us astray. In fact, the story of the king who hires a zona, a prostitute, to tempt his son, but he hires the zona, the prostitute, so and he to have his son say no. I This is not for me. But over time she forgets and she hires another zona, and they forget why they came. They forget that this king sent them to make sure that the son does not, the prince does not does not give in to the temptation, does not eat the chocolate cake. Um, but you're right, Richard. I mean, I think you're right. I mean, and I think that's kind of like what my takeaway, and like, I think the teaching that I got and what I try to apply to my own life is like, I still have these desires. They're not going to go away, and that's okay. We're not tzaddikim, or at least I'm not a tzaddik. I on a good day, I might be approaching a Benini. So I'm going to have evil thoughts. And when I get an evil thought, and it says in Tanya, if you're praying and you get a thought like, a thought that's distracting, it's not because you're a bad person. It's not there to punish you. And it's, in a way, it's a good thing. It shows, just like when I get advertisements on my channel from religions that I don't approve of, like religions that want to convert Jews to do something that's not for Jews. My advisor said that shows you're doing a good job, because the other side, recognizes that you have some power, and it wants to compete with you. So it's not, we can't look at things. I mean, there's enough self-criticism and self-punishment, I believe, to your cup runneth over in that department. I don't think we need any extra like self-punishment. Yeah. Discipline is, yeah, that's the key. Shed broadcasting system. I like that, Patricia. You were made for such a time as that. Yeah, as this. Yeah, that's exactly right. And it says in Tanya that there are two types of delights. There are sweet delights and there are savory delights. So he associates tzaddikim, people who are totally righteous, with sweet delights, and with the service of the Beinoni, of the intermediate, of somebody who's working on himself, struggling, as savory. That God appreciates savory things too. Thanks, Prophecy Seeker, man. But yeah, I'm kind of feeling okay today. I'm at the right coffee level. I mean, I've had the right amount of caffeine to be able to express myself, even though my voice is a little scratchy. HPS. I don't know if I would say call it punishment though, Carla Joe. I think it's all like, I had a friend Smitty at AA back in the day. He used to say it's either a lesson or a blessing. Everything that happens to us. If it's a lesson, it's really from the chesed, and it's like painless. But the hard stuff is a blessing in disguise. It's just hard to see it. I think I did. I just, I'm probably ADHD. I think Karen has me nailed as an ADHD person, and like, if I have to read something longer than a couple of lines, I'll scan it and it'll just go into my. But if you could, Prophecy Seeker, if you could like put it in if you could summarize it really quickly, that would probably be the best way to penetrate my intelligence, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, yeah, a lot of lessons, man, a lot of lessons, but they're good, and we're going through like an amazing time period now, and we have each other, and we have a consciousness, and we have the internet, so information is like faster than the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah seems to be kind of dim-witted. I mean, they're I keep wanting to use the word pernicious. I don't really know what it means. I think it just means evil. But for some reason, when I think of the Kabbalah, I just think of like an evil that's so evil. They don't even, but they're beyond. I saw a video. There was a Catholic priest put a video out yesterday, and he said, this whole medical thing is the work of the Satan. A normal person does not think of this. This is like so evil that it's over the top. I mean, and that's the problem, because human beings, we're not evil, and that's I think that's the reptilian mind. We're not by nature, so we're like kind of defenseless against this level of evil, because most people that have submitted to this, they can't even imagine how evil this thing is. Yeah, I mean, yeah, looking at Hebrew, even if you guys like learn a little bit of like basic um, Hebrew, if you have if you need any books, call Rabbi Sassover. I put his phone number on the thing, and just talk to him. Tell him, you're a Noahide person, or you're a friend of mine, and you're looking for a. I don't think it would be a bad thing. I don't think it would be a bad thing to have a Hebrew prayer book with a good translation. They make such good translations now. There's no reason why you couldn't possess such a thing. Yeah, right brain, left brain. Yeah, I know, Carla. I know. Right, but you could also think of the right brain, left brain as chokmah and bina. That the right brain is chokmah, is the male aspect, and the left side is the female aspect. So yeah, we are peaceful beings. Yeah, right. We just have to stay positive. You know what? You know what, Karen? You'll pick it up. I'm telling you, it's like riding a bike. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I had to learn. I never learned it, I never went to Hebrew school when I was a kid. So I'm, and I've been able. The whole thing with all of these things is to have a seder, have a schedule, and if you just do, Karen, if you do 5 minutes a day, but you do it every day, you'll in no time you'll be reading. I know because it'll come back to you. I don't have, unfortunately, I don't have that. It's not something I would remember. So don't be sad, Karen. Be happy. You have a tremendous opportunity. You have such talent. Karen is like so like sensitive and intelligent and articulate that but you know the world isn't quite ready to really appreciate such such an exquisite jewel. We're not right at the level where people like we're such in survival mode right now. We're all just trying to survive. Yeah, no question. Yeah, no kasha, low kasha. Yeah, we're so in survival mode now, so you just have to be kind to yourself and hug a tree. I haven't been out of the house in a couple of days. I only go out in the morning to shul, to synagogue, and I've just been hibernating with this cold. Oh, they closed my YouTube live. I don't know, man. Um, oh, they closed it yesterday. I don't know. I don't know. They're after me. I mean, it's that's what I'm saying about Karen's like the brilliance of Karen. It's like the enemy is but they're clumsy and they're like I saw a video. A couple of friends sent me a video of like 50 policemen arresting a couple of people sitting in a restaurant having a cup of coffee. A couple of little skinny kids. These humongous policemen, like 50 of them, came in to arrest these people because they didn't have the correct papers. I mean, this is not going to go well for them. In the end, people see this and they're just like, really? I mean, is this necessary? Is this what we've come to? Anyway, hopefully, this video will stay up. My son has made a little cover for these. Yeah, thanks. I can at least speak, Carl Joe, and are amazing. Um, keep up the good work, man. I know you're struggling. I think I keep wanting to put you together with. I don't know. I think it's Tara. I think Tara, but I'm not sure. Anyway, everybody just keep doing what you're doing, and be good to yourselves. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Gracias. Yeah. Yeah, man. We'll get through it. Somehow we get through it. I mean, we've got to stumble through it. It's not. I mean, the evil ones are making it very. No, it's really you're giving me prophecy seeker. You're giving me more than I'm giving you. This is just it gives my life meaning. Otherwise, I'd be sitting around drinking beer probably, or who knows what, doing things that are not so kosher. Yeah, New York City. That's like the last bastion of these creatures. It'll be gone soon. They're on their way out. There'll be a new mayor in a couple of days, and Mr. T is going to make a speech soon. I think, I was talking to Mel Carmen yesterday that I think XRP and the Starlink system and the quantum financial system are all poised. All they have to do is like flick a switch and everything will be, all the banksters will be gone and all will be good. Nothing quakes that does not still, and nothing stills that does not quake. Yeah, beautiful, Karen. Karen's a real poet. Yeah, thanks, Prophecy Speaks. Just thanks for coming today, and I'm going to sign out now. We've gone an hour. We'll do this again tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here. You just made my day, and just work on your Seder. Keep yourself in a structured environment, like Richard says. Just um, keep the light, keep doing productive things, and we're going to get through this. It'll be gone. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. It'll soon be here, and it's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Okay, God bless. Everybody be well. We'll see you tomorrow, and kumbaya, man. May the force be with you, and God bless. See ya.